You're listening to Season 2 of Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants, a production of Virtual Arts.
Hey everyone, I'm Gret.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Larry.
Welcome back to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Okay, you threw me off totally. No, I'm kidding. Let's just keep this in. Today, we have an extraordinary woman, person, human being coming to speak with us who, I don't know, she'll say it all, okay? Her name is Judith Rizzio. She lives here in Portland and has become a friend of mine, and I think you'll enjoy her. Bring her on! Good morning, everybody, and let's welcome once again to this group of people, our dear friend Judith Rizzio. And in this text that you sent me the other day, you were speaking about your involvement in political theater. It says here, starting in 1976, and
Yes.
joining the queer community as a bi woman. So that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Because we got political theater, 1976, bi woman. I don't want to say anymore.
What's more to say?
That's it. Okay, it was a great episode, everybody. Thank you,
See you next
very
time.
much. Judith, please tell us what was going on in 1976 and how you got involved in what you did.
I have to be honest, it was by chance because I was at the Evergreen State College, a very radical, progressive college in Olympia, Washington. And it was a college where you created your own curriculum and your own major. And it was wild. There was no grades. And it took a lot of work, actually, to be at that college.
Very nice.
So I went and I met a wonderful woman, Rory, and she said, look, you're funny as shit. I need someone to help me do this audition for a group called Evergreen Chautauqua, which was going to be a roaming theater company of improv, street theater, edges of Shakespeare that Evergreen did. So I said, sure, I'll help you out because she needed someone to do it with. And I did that, and 25 people out of 168 were chosen, and Rory and I were chosen. I had not gone into it thinking I would even be a part of it. But I have to be honest, that's where it started for me, and it was a wonderful, just happen chance, because I realized how much I loved doing theater and expressing myself that way. As we went along in the summer of 1976, at that time I was ending my junior year of college, Rory, my friend, said, hey, look at this. There's a workshop in San Francisco called the Cultural Workers Conference. And cultural workers at that time were people that were political, theater people, artists, but you called yourself cultural workers. And if you wrote a play or a part of something, you were part of a collective, and there wasn't like director so-and-so, it was just the collective, But I enjoyed it immensely, and I went to this training in San Francisco in 76, which, by the way, was the bicentennial. And so another reason we were there is that this Cultural Workers Conference brought in political theater companies from literally around the world. Teatro Campesino came from Mexico, and Lilith Dance Theater, San Francisco, and Bread and Puppet Theater Company from Boston, and the United Fruit Company, which was the gay male group of actors that were doing stuff around gay rights. The groups went on and on and on. It was really quite impressive. We all came together for 3 months to train together. It was an insane time. And then at nights, we'd all get together and perform for each other. And so I just started falling in love with doing theater, doing art that mattered. I was very involved very young in the Vietnam War movement in high school. And so it really resonated with, this makes sense to me. I realized if I'm going to do something, this is just what felt right. There was an anti-bicentennial march in that summer, and we were all a part of it. The parade was so long. It was 8 hours of parade. There was 250,000 people in the city for this. I mean, everyone in the country came when they heard this was happening. I was fortunate enough to perform in Dolores Park with the mime troupe and the other performers. We all sort of overlapped each other doing various shows in Dolores Park on that day. And that sealed the deal for me. I did a play that was about this hotel that was being knocked down with a lot of elders in it. And it was so radical in that it was just happening right when we were making this play. So we showed up outside of the hotel and did this show, completely agitprop, in your face, showed up, cameras, people. And it really made a huge difference for the older people that were there. They moved them out, but at least there was some group. And that's when I realized I really want to do this. And I came back to Evergreen thinking, okay, someday I'm going to do this. And then right before my senior year started, I got a phone call from the Family Circus Theater Collective from Portland. And they were a radical theater company. And they were at the conference with me. They worked with me and they called and said, look, we know this is your last year of college, but we need to recruit you into our group. We need another woman. Would you come and do this? And at Evergreen, your last year, you can do an internship off campus. So guess what I did? I moved to Portland and became a part of the Family Circus Theater Collective. And I was with that group for a little over 4 years. And we performed up and down the West Coast. And we did classic mime troupe, presentational theater shows. The first show I was in was Superman Meets the Plutonium Tycoons. And that was about nuclear weaponry and closing it down. And Lois Lane, of course, was the main character. Superman was sort of dopey and goofy and silly. It was fantastic.
Gosh.
And I realized you could say so many insane stuff and highly political stuff if you use comedy. And the history of political theater goes way back to ancient Greek times, where they would do something in the street and then run like hell before they were killed. And I realized what a wonderful tradition I was becoming a part of. So that's when it started, but it never stopped since then. And I'll show you, because I'm gathering stuff and I'm very excited. The Oregon Historical Society is going to take all of my memorabilia from the political theater that I've done and still do. And it's going to be a part of the Oregon Archive, which
Amazing.
Awesome.
it was amazing. Anyway, this was the woman play called Labor Pains, and then below the men's play, Top Cats and Underdogs, a comedy about men's changing roles. And then this says a play about women and work. And then we also did a second edition to the women's play called Who Stole the Umbilical Cord?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. This was called Rip City Follies. I'm playing an old vaudevillian woman right there,
Oh
Millie.
my goodness.
And basically it was called Rip City Follies because Portland was Rip City because of the Blazers winning that year. And everybody called it Rip City, right? Well, Rip City is ripping down also all the old buildings downtown and relocating older people and poor people out of facilities. So that was sort of a takeoff in the show that I did in San Francisco. And then out of that came the group that I was a part of for 21 years called the Fallen Angel Choir. It was done during Christmas time, and we did satirical parodies of holiday songs and went out on the streets in the Saturday market. One was, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry business. We wish you a Merry business. We wish you a Merry business and a lucrative year. Our prophet was Christ, that's perfectly clear. For his birth brings in profits that grow every year. And that's the type of stuff we sang. And some people would be like, oh, look at you, you're so darling, because we were in Dickens era costumes. And this, and they would say, sing us a little song, choir, Christmas choir. And we'd sing it, and then we'd be kicked out of wherever we were. Constantly.
Of
It's
course.
like get out of here,
Oh
And
my gosh.
it was wonderful. We would do shows every year that had thematic, topical parodies of not only Christmas songs, they were in there because we always did it the day after Thanksgiving to the day before Christmas. And then we'd disappear until the next year. But we had such a huge following that at Saturday Market, they started advertising that we were going to be there, and like 300 people would show up.
Wow.
And we'd be on the street,
Wow.
and it would be packed. And it really was a phenomenal thing. And it grew off the streets up to a wonderful auditorium called the Scottish Rites Temple. They had a beautiful, ancient, old theater that seated 750 people. And we were there for like 7 years. And the last 5 of the years, we would do 20 shows inside from Christmas. It was just like boom, boom, boom. And we would sell out 750 seats
Wow.
Wow.
every night.
Wow. Wow.
And that's unheard of now. Live theater is dying quickly. But it just became a holiday tradition. And then we stopped in 1997. We did it from 76 to 97. I did.
Wow.
That's excellent.
And
Oh
I
my
did,
goodness.
did it 21 years. And my poor children, their Christmases, I was gone. And my wonderful husband, Jim, would tell the kids, don't talk to your mom. She can't talk. She needs to save her voice. But the boys loved it. I had 4 sons, and we dressed them up in little Dickens costumes when they were little at Saturday Market, and we taught them, and they all were like in knickers and ruddy cheeks and cute little hats, and we taught them to wear their hats to go around and going, nickels, dimes, some dead presidents, nickels, dime, dead presidents, and everyone was just like, oh, but it was great. But when I stopped, it was my son's senior year of high school because I wanted 1 year of remembering him in school. And I was like, Aaron, I'm doing this for you. It's time for me to stop. And he's like, but Mom, I loved it. It's really fun having a really famous mother for 1 month every year. You know?
That's so great.
It was very sweet. And to this day, I can be places and people come up to me and go, boy, do we need the angels now. Where are you? When the first time Trump got elected, I got a band of women together. And we got all dressed up in the costumes. We did songs and parodies. But what was so sad is that people would not stop. And they'd sort of listen and then walk away. Busking is a thing of the past. And people just don't anymore. If it's not 3 seconds, if it's not TikToked, it doesn't matter. It's too long. It's too much. But, art is resistance. And especially right now, it's a huge way to be able to break through the numbingness of what's happening in our country. And whatever you use, be it fine arts, dance, music, theater, poetry, I believe it keeps the passion and your ability to break through the numbing to be heard. And so I see it right now as being a vital form of resistance and something that I'm urging people to try to do,
Yes.
to keep doing.
We have to have that voice is so important. And it always has been. Really, by the time I was involved with any kind of political theater, it was much more organized. We went around with Judith and Julian with the Living Theater. We worked a lot with them in New York. We would take workshops with them. A friend of mine is now part of it, but we were never invited in because we went to one meeting and they were like, what is your best idea? I said, well, I'm going to go to the Gay March in Washington. And I'm going to jump in front of the gay march, and then we're going to turn the parade all the way around. And they were like, that's not possible. And I was like, and I remember I had a drawing, and I was like, no, I'll show you. It's right here in this drawing. And they were like, jumping in front of a parade is not what political theater is about.
But I like your spirit. I like it.
But it did leave me always, in terms of writing, to think about political. There's always something political in my own personal writing.
Yes.
I can't write without that point of view because it was so important to me because it was the only way I could really express it. I was not a political history major. I didn't know any of that, but I knew that I could have a voice in that way.
Yes. I work with Portland Public Schools. I'm right about to do my last play and then finally retire after 38 years as an artist in residence. And one fun thing I got to do is over the years is I would go and talk about political theater in the classrooms in high school. And younger people don't even realize there was such a thing.
Right.
I talk about the history of it and throughout the years. My other work I did was HIV/AIDS work for many years. And I talked about how the first group of gentlemen that I saw dying from AIDS were with the United Fruit Company, the group I told you about. And there were 13 gay guys, real young. And they were wonderful, just wonderful. And we always talked about how we could be able to say things using, like, commedia, mime, and stuff that you would never be able to say standing up on a box in front of people. They would either boo you off, throw things at you, or you'd be carried off. But I also told the story, though, that in 1979, my first friend died from that group, from HIV. And by 1983-85, there was only 2 of the performers left. And I realized being able to talk about things that were so brutal happening, like HIV and AIDS. I sang a song, this is for my friends who've come and gone. There's been quite a few lives at their peak until AIDS came along, people much like me and you. Anyway, it went on, and it's just a song about what was happening, and then at the end, I'm getting choked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very hard. It was really hard. And there'd be a 750-seat house that just was silent. So we didn't do all fun. I realized the power that I could, using a Christmas song that I did a parody of to talk about that. And it just sealed the deal in regards to the effectiveness of art and resistance. And I'm hoping that more of that could possibly come back.
That's the question here is what is the possibility of art being political? Again, what are the possibilities of political theater coming back? Because it's needed so bad at this time, or would it just be stomped out?
It's hard for me because I'm such a Luddite and I don't spend hardly any time on screens. I find I have just a tad bit of ADHD and it doesn't work in my brain and it tends to shut me down creatively. So that's by my choice. But what I am finding is that you can go down that rabbit hole and find some amazing people writing songs and singing them online. It's very piecemeal. They're live political theater. I don't know if there's a real place for that anymore because people just don't stop and want to sit and look at it. Yeah. Anyway, like we're right about to do Sense and Sensibility, okay? But we're updating it and we're going to do it all that they're not writing letters. They're going to be talking into phones and creating their art. It's going to be all done up to date that
Very cool.
way. And and all our shows are gender neutral. It's amazing what you still can do if you have the backing of the parents. There's some schools that won't allow this, but Grant High School is the acting high school in town. I'll give you an example. I'm so excited because I'm going to get to see this wonderful woman, Jinx Monsoon, who is in a very wonderful, famous drag queen, just was in Pirates and Penzance, and Jinx was my student.
Oh, get out.
And
That's funny.
at Grant, and I put Jinx in one of their first drag costumes as Bacchus.
Wow.
I'm about to go to New York in end of August and see O'Mary. and Jinx is taking over the role. So this was a show called Metamorphosis that we did at Grant High School, and it demanded a swimming pool on the stage. Oh, it's done in water, and we did it, which was insane. We did it anyway. I put a glitter, long pants on, and what I love is Jarrett was Jinx's name at that time. Jarrett said, could I just futz around with the costume a little bit? And I said, yeah, but you have to tell me how much skin you're going to show, because I need to know that, because we don't want to be banned. We don't want to deal with it. And so Jinx said, no problem. So Jinx comes out and takes the costume I made and made the bell-bottom pants into very short shorts. And I had made a boa out of fake green grapes, like a really long one that swung around, and then put very high boots on that they sprayed glitter and stuff on, and then cropped the top like this. I just want to read you something. It says, this may be one of the last times you see Jarek on the Grant stage, as he is a senior this year. Shucks. However, this is not the end of his performing career. He hopes to attend Cornish Conservatory of Performing Arts and pursue his dream of fame. Thanks to Miss Todd and Mr. Lane, Jarek's full spirit and passion are included in his art. It's just wonderful. Jinx is incredibly political and uses their comedy and their drag in such amazing ways. But here's the key to political theater. A lot of people think political theater is like, hey, we got a barn out back, let's do a show, and to be very honest, some are untrained theater people that really create shows that are good in intent, but they are not very well written or performed. And that's the one thing that, if I were to leave anything, is that why you don't see a lot of good political theater anymore is that there's a lot of people doing very short things, and people are looking at this stuff, and half the stuff that I have looked at, I'm like, what was that about? And it has nothing to do with necessarily quality. It's just how much, it's sort of 3-second hits.
Yeah, but that can be theater for the new. I mean, we
Yes.
don't know what the new mind needs, and we have to
Yes.
support really what they need to be able to be moved by politics, and it's not going to be what we did.
Not at all. You know what's so sad too?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we cannot do Shakespeare anymore in high schools because the attention span of
Wow.
the actors to be willing to learn the lines, and the attention span
Yeah,
of people
I hear
sitting in the audience has literally gone in half.
It's not for everyone. It definitely isn't. And that's the beauty of theater.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. It doesn't matter. There's something for everyone,
It's true.
I know that you may not want to talk about it yet, but we talked about another project that you may
Yes.
be doing that has to do with different kinds of art. And that may be a way that people can express politics today,
Yes.
is through that
Mm.
art.
I mean, they are. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at,
What's
I mean,
behind
I
you
was just
is,
going to say that. I think this is a nice segue to anyone who's listening to this
Yes.
podcast. Why aren't you watching it? But anyway,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this podcast, Judith has a lovely piece that she's been working on behind her of an American flag, and I'll have her explain what is on this flag.
well, this flag came about because it was after an incident, and this is around 8 years ago, of a gun violence mass shooting. And it was really tricky because I was just finding myself cringing at how brutal this is and how unnecessary these deaths were. And I'll bring it's a part of my history of what really motivated me, made me realize I've got to do something. I had a son that died of cancer when he was 25. He lived for 6 years with liver cancer from 18 to 25. And I could do nothing about that. I knew that he was going to be leaving his body, and I just had to stay within that with him right to the end. And when I looked at the mass shootings, and what was going on with, especially the little children that were being sawed in half by A-15s. And I hate to be that crude, but that's actually what the guns do to little children.
Yes.
Yes.
I said, I need to do something. I need to do something. And so I remember, like, aha, I have an old flag. I love going to estate sales, and I've got this flag that is behind me. It's 7.5 by 4.5 feet. It's large. And I decided I'm going to start embroidering on it gun violence events. And I started with the first gun violence event that I remembered when I was 12 years old in 1966. It's the University of Texas tower shooting, 14 dead, 1966. And then I started on the White Stripes with different ones. The next one was the Thurston High School, 1998. Columbine, 1999, and I kept on looking them up, and just on the white stripes. And I thought, oh, I'll just do the white stripes. And then I realized for me to fit more, I had to do smaller stitches and
Yeah.
area. And so there's 81 events up there. It took me 7 years. I didn't do it every day. I took a year off with COVID because there were so many people dying. I thought, I don't need to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
But I would pretty much just sit in front of the TV, look at documentaries, and do this. And it was very therapeutic, but I never saw it. It was always on my lap. I never saw it open very much. I would just sort of fold it up and put it aside. And then I started getting to the end of it and realized I'm ready for this to be off my lap and out in the world. So I started asking around with people saying, look, I have this flag. And I started showing people. And people were like, whoa, what's up with this? And I said, I wanted it to look like a Betsy Ross storytelling quilt that women did. Just the whole thing of the flag and the sewing. And women used sewing and fabric as a way to tell their stories because there was no other way for them to do so. It also was when women came together to be together and do something. And to this day, and then the AIDS quilts that were a part of my history.
Sure.
For the 30 years I did HIV work. And so it just made sense. I'm going to be very honest. I started doing this upside down, not realizing that what it meant.
Oh.
It was my husband, Jim, who said, you realize you do this upside down and you know what that means, right? And at the time I didn't. I didn't realize that it is a sign of distress. And if you're out on the ocean or anywhere, if you did that, it's saying, help, hello, something's wrong here. And I thought, oh my God, I am so happy I did that.
Yeah.
So fast forward to a few months back, I had a friend who said, listen, Judith, I just saw this thing that's going to happen in Seattle. And it's called Vent. And it's an art show where you submit your work, and it's pieces that speak about what you want to vent about, what's happening in the world. So I took photos and submitted it, and 40 artists were chosen. And the end of June, there was an exhibit, but it was only 1 day, 4 hours.
Okay.
It was just like, everyone was going nuts. This is so great. And the fact that we only got to do it for that period of time.
And for
But it
40
doesn't-
people, 4 hours
Yeah.
seems, very short.
Very short. And when I came back from that, on the way home, I just said to my husband, and he probably saw it coming, I said, I want to produce a show like this in Portland. So I am in the throes of trying to make that happen. So I'm going to keep pushing it, but I was going to call it Vent PDX. And that, for many reasons, was like, nah, that's not going to work. But even more so, with the help of Larry and Juan and a couple of other people that were at the table, we came up with my second word that was in the back of my head, and everyone sort of agreed and said, yes, that's a better word. It's called Rage PDX.
Perfect.
because I don't know about you, I'm beyond venting.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I think it's right for your piece because when we were going through words and you had said that that was a second choice, that is where people are going to be at the time you do this show.
Yes.
Because not that we're not all enraged now, but Americans, it takes a long time to burn, and within 1 year there will be
Yes.
rage everywhere.
yes.
Yeah.
I also
We're-
love that it's not just an emotion, it's a verb.
Yes.
Yes.
We rage against things. It's proactive. It's an active word
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, how many
is.
mass shootings were there in the last week?
Right.
Just
Right. Yeah. The open game on inhumanity and violence, that's one of the most frightening things for me, is the fact that it's beyond politics. I say this ad nauseum, but I'm really beyond like liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republic, blah, blah. I just now say all I want to talk about is what's humane and what's inhumane.
Absolutely.
We are at a base point where it's like, I don't want to hear about policy. I don't want to hear any about that bullshit. I want you to think about someone you love the most, and then I want you to think about them not being able to get the health care that they needed. And that's the only time I play my son's death card. My son lived 6 years because we happened to have the right medical coverage. We had 3 people that worked for the city as teachers, and that's what kept him alive, because we had that coverage. And I said, your son, daughter, your grandchild that you love, they're going to die sooner than someone that has immense wealth.
I mean, listen, I believe that in some ways that the political theater of today are the real life murders, the real life shootings. Because of television, we have made what was on television a reality. And you know what? It all almost feels like just another TV show that you just flick the channel and say, ooh, that one's not that interesting. What happened in Traverse City? Oh, that was stabbings. Like, that's a little more interesting. But it's so much coming at you.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. People will say to me, oh, you should do Fallen Angel again. People love it. And I realized singing those songs, they're not funny anymore.
They're
They're
not.
not funny anymore because it's actually happening.
Right.
I could get a very mixed group of people singing it, doesn't matter. Anyway, I really want to produce this show. We'll see what happens. I see it in my head. I know it'll be successful, but there's a lot of logistics. Before we end, I do want to show you, though, what is going to bring me joy. I do want to show you Anthony Stefano. I'd like to introduce Anthony.
Oh,
There I am.
look at
my
that.
goodness.
That is my drag character.
What a
Yeah.
dapper gentleman
Oh,
there.
so handsome.
Yes, exactly, Anthony, yeah. And
Oh,
here
my
here
goodness.
here I am with a
It's so
with
great. You're like a
Oh,
skinny TV
Everything
guinea.
about it. The
yeah,
mustache,
yeah.
perfection.
And
the
so
ruffles.
Right? Yes, all of it.
Sal.
Yes.
I have a collection of the most fantastic ruffled shirts,
Oh, I love
tuxedo shirts. And Anthony is sort of down like this, really low. I do a switch on the song, That's Why the Lady is a Tramp. What's great is it's political when I actually lip sync, and I actually sing it. I don't do it to a recording. But Anthony is coming out again. Anthony has got to
Yes.
come out again. What was wonderful is I will stand next to friends for a very long time. I do it on purpose as Anthony. And I'll just stand next to them and they'll be like, oh. And then they look and then I look at them, I'm like, how you doing? What's up? And they realize they're like, oh my God, is that you, Judith? You know,
Amazing.
Oh my
and it just makes me
So
happy.
good.
It's fun. That
It's
is
fun.
It is.
And that's the thing about this, which is really, if we stop having fun, we're in really, really dangerous ground there.
Yes.
And again, there's the reality. I mean, every day I think about as I'm eating and not worrying about not having enough food, the most basic things, I just take a moment and go, okay, I'm thinking about those I can't. What can we do about that? I mean, I'm trying to be mindful, but I also realize that I have to also mindfully dance, have fun, do art, because nobody can take that away from us.
Yeah, we have to keep
I was-
our eyes open.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say that in these times when they're putting out statements about making entertainment great again. And I just say, what fools you are. You will never, you'll never take that. You can never control that.
Yeah.
And saying that you are going to try, it just makes you look so foolish. You will never, ever take art away from our humanity. You will never.
Yeah. Never.
No, they won't.
And that's where our power lies. I believe one word that they took out of not to write in grants and things, because it's a code word for them, is the word expression.
Yeah.
I mean, come
satirical parody. Yeah, and the other word that they took out, warned us not to use, is female.
Yeah, I know. Only half your population.
But I mean, right there, you could read off those words. I was thinking what an
wild.
amazing piece it would be
Yes.
to read off those words and do almost a theatrical 5-minute piece about that, because it's so bizarre.
Yes.
I mean, that's the type of stuff. Take it and re-own it back. Show it for what it is.
Yes, Judith, that would be.
Without apologizing. I have a thing, I made a dress, and on the front of it, I put huge letters that says "Step Aside." And I'm going to copyright that, actually, trademark.
Yeah, you should.
And it basically is especially for marginal populations, especially for older women, but it's for everyone. And it's basically saying there's nothing you can do that right now is going to stop me. I will figure out a way, but all you just fucking need to do is step aside.
Step aside.
No disclaimers, no permission, no politeness. I'm not being mean, but I'm not going to look at you. I don't need to. Just step aside. Every time I look at the TV and see predominantly older white men, no offense, Larry, at all, I look at them and like, you motherfucker, step aside. I mean, it's my way.
And this administration is either ignorant older white men or vapid, silly, gorgeous younger women. I mean, it's like the ridiculous. These
They're more offensive. I mean, I just assume old guys are that way, But when I see women doing this shit, I just look at them like, oh.
the way they talk. These women in that administration, what is wrong with those women? Do you know what I mean?
It's like that's all theater too. It's all a different kind of theater, a
absolutely.
twisted kind of theater, but it's theater.
It definitely is. I mean, as we know, bottom line, unregulated capitalism, greed, power, and patriarchy. And let's throw in some organized religion reality. They're all being used by the extreme wealthy as the puppets to enable all this to happen. Yeah, but I mean, I want to get back to the thing that's exciting is you have women like Christy and Gret and all these powerful women that know who they are. They're willing to put it out there and to create a space for other women and people in general to be a part of that. And that's who I rely on. That makes me, when I start really going down the dark, chute of hell with this, I go, whoa, 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 what's real? Again, this is what's so lovely about getting this opportunity to talk I say this to my students a lot, is they're trying to do things. And I just say, the bottom line is don't let anyone take your intrinsic power from you. They can't bribe, sabotage. They really can't take that away from you. And it is so important to figure out ways to find that. And some days you can't, and some days you can. Wake up and decide what's real today. And what's real today is doing this with all of you, having a great meal with friends, taking a walk and realizing, my God, look at these flowers. And that sounds so trite, because there's a lot of people right now in abject pain, poverty, suffering that's beyond comprehension. And I always know that's there, but I also know that if I do this, it makes me not forget about what's real so that I can do more for what is not real for a vast majority of the people on our planet. I mean, that's the best we can do. Dance. Yeah. Move your body.
Yeah.
Get off the screens. Move your body. Move.
Walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a while.
Yeah, do whatever you can to just keep grounded.
Judith, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today for for encouraging us, for scaring the shit out of us, for bringing us joy and making us cry. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Oof.
I mean,
Oh my
this
gosh.
is
I
just
want to be
when
her
she
when
had
I
the
grow
brain
up.
cancer.
Yes.
When she had, Judith really has such a wealth to share.
Oh my gosh, I could have,
Yeah.
that
I mean,
conversation
it
could have
is.
gone on for hours. It also,
It's so
like,
fascinating.
it's funny because in a weird way, it gave me hope because it was like, look that they're doing this political theater in the 70s and it's about gender disparity and wage disparity and anti-war. And it's like, well, here we are again. It cycles.
Oh
It
yeah.
cycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
cycles. It cycles, and that's why I'm beginning to try to relook at the media that I look at, because I really don't want to be looking at the media anymore that just enrages me because they know how to raise my temperature. I mean, sometimes if I'm really tired and I have to go do something, I think, well, let me just take a look at CNN or YouTube, and that'll get my heart rate up. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
pathetic thing, right? But it's
Yep.
true.
No,
Okay,
it's true.
so,
Yeah.
but the thing is, what can we look at in terms of news today that can inform us of what we want to be informed about and not what they want us to be informed
Right.
about? Because
Right.
it's what's happening with the news is not good because there's too much of it, for one thing.
Saturated. Yeah.
Hopefully, Donald Trump will
Oversaturated.
get rid of all the news channels except for Fox.
Well, he already kind of filtered what news we are getting because they only allow in like Fox and Newsmax and like
Oh, yeah.
Republican influencers into the press pool now. They've blocked the regular press from being in there.
Yeah, I really don't want to know what the fuck is going on in there anyway, because it's just a bunch of stupid ass silliness, and it can't really get a whole lot worse than what it's
Yeah.
getting or in the direction that it's headed, unless he's going to line people up and shoot them against a wall.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, there's no surprises anymore.
There's no surprises. There.
That's terrifying. But it's true.
Yeah.
It's
So yes,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Thanks, guys, for coming here. I mean, Judith is so extraordinary, and we've had so many amazing people in this year and a half on this show. It's just been incredible. I look forward to every single thing that we do in the future.
Same.
Absolutely. Join us next time. Much more to come.
Oh, you have no idea.
We have no idea. We'll find out together.
We have no idea.
We do. We do. We
All right,
know
we have a
what's
little idea.
happening.
You'll have to come back and find out. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants. To find out more, follow and like us on all our socials. And if you like what you hear, please be sure to share with a friend. That's all for now. Keep living dangerously and on your own terms.